Hey everybody, David Cooper here from Linehaul News. I've got Jessica Meadows from Square One. Jessica, thanks for joining me.
Absolutely.
We are here today because both of us have been receiving several questions. Jessica has been a big part of freshman orientation, and Linehaul News, we are putting out a new thing called Linehaul 101 that is a preface to freshman orientation. And rather than both of us take all kinds of phone calls and do it individually, we thought we'd put a video out here. So Jessica, I'll let you ask me any question you want to ask about Linehaul 101.
Absolutely. Thank you. So we work with a lot of new TSPs on the recruiting side. Square One has been lucky to be a part of Linehaul News and freshman orientation since its start. So it is gaining a lot of traction. People are talking about it, all positive things, the networking, the information, the knowledge that they're walking away from. And then comes Linehaul 101, and there's not a lot of information out there yet. So the biggest question that we've been receiving is, what exactly is Linehaul 101? How is it different from freshman orientation?
I think that's a very fair question. Really appreciate your comments on it. We have been trying to do a lot over the last year, but to get back to the difference between Linehaul 101 and freshman orientation, it's really an expansion of it. We took the same material that we've been doing, we've added to it. Each time we've done a freshman orientation, we've added to the material, but we've really expanded upon it in a big way for this one, and we are trying to give people what they want. So each time we've done one of these, the students have come back and they said, "Hey, great information, a lot of information." They kind of got that glossy look to their eyes after lunch. But they said we'd love to have it in a deeper format and spread out over some time. So that's what we did. It's a 6-part online series. We're going to start with a FedEx overview and new company stand up. We'll then take it to safety, tractors, drivers, the business side of it. We're going to add in the operational management. Steve Crawford's going to help me out on that. Obviously, I've asked you to help me out on the drivers and all things recruiting side. We'll get John Davis over for the safety side of it, and just the other cast and crew that have been with us along the way to help us out on these. So it's a 6-part series online. We're going to do deep dive, tell you how to run these businesses, how to do each one of these parts, and then be around to answer the questions from many of the students also.
You touched on the cast and the crew, and I feel like one of the best pieces of freshman orientation that Square One has seen and what we've heard from our clients who have attended is that there's a wide range of people who are part of this faculty, vendors, contractors. Can you tell us a little bit more about who is on this crew and who we will see in Linehaul 101?
Absolutely. The we have had a side of both. What we've always tried to do is we've tried to add to the faculty with the people who are putting the most information out there and the best educational information out there. So for the vendor side, right, it was no question to go to you. You and Dave have done a ton from Square One to help educate and just spread the word. It's interesting how you all try to do your selling by telling other people how to recruit, but it works and it does well. REL is the same boat, right? They're obviously the big player in here, and Pat and Tyler bring so much experience from their days at FedEx to where they really help out. So them being a part of Linehaul 101 and the freshman orientations have been huge. Linehaul Central's played a big part. John Davis is fantastic in the safety message, and Becky always does a great job in the business side also. I'm trying to think. I don't want to leave any vendors out. I know Dave Nosick, Badger Fleet Services. He's done a lot. We got him when we were up in Milwaukee. He knows more about ELDs and better and all that kind of stuff than can ever dream to know about. So really cool having them side. And then the contractors. We've had some big players out there. Steve Crawford, he's been doing this almost longer than I've been alive. No knock on Steve, but it is the case.
I like
As you
that.
mentioned, Dave Tomash, he kind of plays a dual role with the vendor and the contractors. Um, Randy and Eric, Spartan Centurion, they've been a big part of it. Jim Bohr was there from day one. Anytime that guy talks, I start to listen. Jerry and Rich from J&R, they've been huge with it. Stan Lucas. Apologies if I leave anybody out. But we've had a star-studded crew. We kind of went a different route too. I guess starting in Milwaukee, we asked some newer contractors, Sarah and Logan Panasco. They brought a whole new scheme to it. I don't remember if you said what they talked about with putting air fryers in trucks, but I got an air fryer in every truck of mine now since then, and we've had great conversations with a bunch of drivers about it. So Taylor Manis is another new one. I'm going to try to get Connor Stevens, another new contractor, but everything from the 100 truck guys down to, hey, I've been in this for 6 months, but I'm successful doing it. If they're willing to spread what makes their business better, we'll have them on there.
And these new TSPs you're talking about, which you also forgot about one contractor that does speak at these events, you and your brother have done an incredible job. You are also contractors, so don't forget that piece. I've listened to you talk. One of the best things I love hearing is your retention and how you guys go about that. It's completely different. It's thinking outside of the box, and I think it works. So don't forget yourself on that.
Do appreciate it. I think, yeah, there's a whole lot that goes into it. There's a whole lot of strong players. That's a big part of it, is just hearing that what everybody does and the little nuances is across the country, that, somebody does something different in Wyoming than they did in Florida, and then all of a sudden it works, and it's pretty neat.
Absolutely. And these new TSPs that are attending, I think everybody can speak that your faculty, your crew, everybody who is there to help. They saw your vision and they love the networking piece to it. And they know FedEx doesn't give you a how-to. So we know what Linehaul 101 is. We know who is a part of the crew and the faculty. Why do you guys do this? Why did you start this in the beginning?
I think you kind of hit it right there on the head with it. It's that networking piece. The why we started doing it in the beginning was to try to keep people from making two reasons, right? We wanted to keep people from making the same mistakes that we made, right? My brother and I, we lost a whole lot of money in our first 3 years doing things the wrong way. We figured it out with the help of Randy and Eric, with the help of Dave, right? We learned a lot from those guys. And we turned businesses around. And I think all three of us have built companies and cultures that we can be proud of. And we all will openly admit that we learned a little bit. And there's other players too, right? One we forgot that's been on a part of it before, Al Sheely, right? Big player that's been a part of these freshman orientations before. I learned a ton from Al in my early days. But that's our why, right? We're doing it because we network and we learn, and you make your business better, right? My business improves every time I show up to freshman orientation. I can't imagine what it is for the new guy that shows up that hasn't been around these guys here in the tidbits for years and years. So that's our why. It's there that we understand, and we firmly believe that us sharing what works best for our business and listening to what works best for other businesses will improve the network as a whole. I think majority too of, actually not majority, everybody we've talked about on the faculty, they firmly believe that if contractors as a whole are better, it makes FedEx better, and that's a win for everybody. That's the why behind it.
And you said something about FedEx, and of course that, we have to talk about them a little bit, but they don't give you a how-to. They don't give you a guidebook.
Yeah, and so that's kind of the second part about this is, right, FedEx can't do it. We're not a franchise. We are contractors, right? In the franchise world, it's simple. I got buddies that are Subway guys. I've got buddies that are Chick-fil-A guys. You want to become a Chick-fil-A person, and you go through the month-long Chick-fil-A University, and they give you the playbook that's this thick, and it's everything they can do. FedEx can't do that for us. We're not their employees in any way, shape, or form, right? There's a very long TSP agreement that states in there many reasons why they can't do that, but they're never going to do that for us. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to build that playbook and trying to set people up for success, trying to keep people from making the mistakes I made and my brother made in the first 3 years we were doing it, right? And trying to keep people from reinventing the wheel. That's the one we always seem to come back to. That's the old analogy. So
I love it. Freshman orientation, I've been to all of them. They're incredible. And I can quote Dave Tomash himself every time he attends this event. And granted, he's been in FedEx for 20 plus years. He says he learns something new every single time. So that leads into my last question for you. Who should go? Who should attend Linehaul 101? Is it just new TSPs, or can everybody benefit from this?
I think it is there for everybody. The information specifically that we're putting out there in Linehaul 101, it's geared towards the people who are wanting to learn more, that are trying to increase their knowledge base. So that could be, people who are wanting to become TSPs. That's kind of why we put this out there. We found there's a lot of people looking to enter the space, whether it was through the CGOs on Building Around Biz or looking to buy a business, right? But they were wanting to learn, hey, I'm getting ready to make a big investment. Tell me what to do. The second group would be hey, I just got into this game, right? I'm 6 months in, I'm a year in, you know, and I'm getting my toes in the water, but I need to help with this. And you know, we've had a lot of guys coming to us in that space. And one of our greatest success stories is a contractor that he was 3 weeks in when he showed up in Atlanta. Actually, I hadn't heard from the guy in quite a while, but I just had a phone call with him right before Thanksgiving, and he's up to 12 trucks now, being very successful. And it was awesome to hear. And he was very thankful for what we had done. And that's he called me right before Thanksgiving to say he was thankful for freshman orientation. So that was neat. So new TSPs, right? It helps them out quite a bit. You know, I think you can attest. You've had some of your employees come through here. Some, you know, the Aniston, you know, she came to one, and you know, I believe they liked it. I think you want to talk a little bit on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I brought my team to Dallas, to the Linehaul Summit, and they both attended the freshman orientation. And I'm able to give them what I know and talk about my experience and teach them a little bit. But when they got to this event, it was not only the information they were receiving, but it was the network of people who were willing to answer their questions. And there are a lot of new TSPs that can't make it. And, you know, they hate it, but they have to stay with their growing business, their brand new business. So I feel like Linehaul 101, this is going to be perfect for those people who can't get away and still be able to network. And also, I've talked to a lot of these new TSPs. Part of the questions they've asked me is, hey, can you hire BCs for our company when we get to that level? I feel like being able, as a new TSP or even a current TSP, sending your BC or some of your managers to this event is definitely imperative as well.
Yeah, we've actually had some guys that have been on the faculty. Bob Aries, you know, he sent probably 3 or 4 of his staff through it after we asked Bob to be on the faculty. So he would attest to it that, you know, he was again a name we mentioned. Sorry, Bob, but you know, some of the best brains, they agree with you. That thank you for bringing that point up. I almost forgot it, but yeah, we've had probably 20%, 30% of the people who have come through freshman orientation have been BCs. So much so that the same companies have sent back multiple guys. I think that attests to it. Yes, I have sent my BCs, every BC I've got, I've sent through this. So completely agree with that one. Great point. Thanks for bringing that one up.
Absolutely. I spoke with John Kelch the other day with Cyclone, and he's been a big part of orientation, and he sent through some of his BCs, and we've talked about it since. But it's a great event to attend. And I think opening this up online and giving people the opportunity who maybe can't make it to one of the orientations, this is going to be imperative for their business. And there are so many questions that they have at the end, but it's going to be easier. It's going to be easier to access. But I will say to anybody who is watching this, if you can try to make in person one of the freshman orientations that are held by Linehaul News, it's not just the information, the knowledge, it's the networking. You're going to meet people who will be a part of your business until the end because they want to help. Just like you said, they don't want to see you make the mistakes that they've made.
Jessica, I thank you so much for your time. I hope that we answered the questions that are out there surrounding this. If anybody else has anything more, I'm sure that we'll add our email addresses down to the bottom of this video. Please reach out. We'd love to answer your questions and help you, but hopefully we took care of most of them today.
Thank you for having me.